We begin this hour with the issue affecting millions of households, student debt. The federal government suspended student loan payments during the pandemic, but Americans will likely need to start paying again next year. And the numbers are staggering. Check this out. More than 45 million people in the U.S. owe nearly $2 trillion. Yep, $1 trillion. We found out how some schools are trying to ease the financial burden for students, while some lawmakers want to reset the system entirely.
Is all student debt cleared at the university?
From 2020 in February, then in the fall of 20, and then in the spring of 21, we eliminated student debt.
On the campus of Cheyney University, just outside Philadelphia, they're trying a new solution to an ever-growing problem.
They already were facing a lot of issues with COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. We had money through the American Rescue Plan, and we said, you know what, this is something we have to share.
Aaron Walton is the president of Cheyney, the country's oldest HBCU. They're one of a handful of schools actively reducing the burden of tuition debt on current students. And that debt has skyrocketed. Over the past decade, student debt has seen a 100% increase, with borrowers averaging nearly $40,000 in owed payment. And for Black graduates, that number is even higher. They owe on average about $24,000 more than white graduates.
Have you had conversations about what student debt forgiveness has meant to students here?
Their families had suffered as a result of the pandemic. They were thinking about dropping out of school because they needed help at home. And the fact that we were able to pay off their debt for that term allowed them to stay here. So we impact more than just a student. We impact family. Before the pandemic, I ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner with the students every day in the cafeteria. I live on campus. I'm here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do I know them? Probably too well.
I was able to furnish my apartment a little bit, get myself a bed. Like I didn't have to sleep on the floor.
You were sleeping on the floor?
Yeah, for a while.
Junior Shamar Palacio is one of those students, eating meals at the university's cafeteria alongside Walton. The 20-year-old, who one day wants to work in graphic design, had his balance zeroed out earlier this semester. He thought it was a joke.
What did the email say?
It was just like, hey, if you owed us anything from the years of spring 2021 back to fall of 2020, spring of 2020, you're done, you're clear. I had a huge back balance, and going into the semester was gonna be tough, really tough for me. So I was like, how am I gonna get this done?
Canceling student loan debt is the single most effective executive action that President Biden can take to help close the racial wealth gap.
The ballooning student debt crisis has grabbed the attention of lawmakers in Washington.
President Biden has an opportunity and a responsibility,
including Representative Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts.
If I was President Biden and you were sitting across from him right now and you could speak your heart on this issue, what would you say to him?
I would say we find ourselves in an unprecedented moment, which presents an unprecedented opportunity and responsibility. Cancel student debt. This is transformative. It is directly impactful. It is an economic justice issue. It is a racial justice issue. So you have the authority, stroke of a pen. Just do it.
Biden administration has already canceled $11.5 billion in student debt for more than 500,000 American borrowers.
Hopefully it shows up in our policy.
But Pressley wants to see more from the president and his education department.
So when President Biden says this is on Congress to pass legislation to forgive numbers this large, is that simply just an excuse?
I'm a firm believer in the power of legislation. Every option should be on the table. However, why go through a legislative process when President Biden has the authority to immediately, right now, stop the herd?
You don't know the relief that gives to your students.
Your shirt says, love a little more. Is that what the university did for you and the students here?
I see Cheyney as a family, so love a little more definitely when it comes to Cheyney for me. Like, I love everyone here. They've given me so much.
It represents choice.
Back at Cheyney, President Walton sees the gesture by his university not as a handout, but as an investment in people.
So we've got to look at retention.
Yeah.
How do we keep these students? We lose some opportunities to have folks at Cheyney that will be the next Ed Bradleys, who happen to work for CBS,
The great Ed
that
Bradley.
graduated from Cheyney. So it's about access and opportunity for our students. So it's a small investment that we made for permanent improvement.
If it's not us through 6 degrees of separation, we all know somebody's dealing with student loan debt.
Yeah.
You know, now there's another side to this coin, if you will, that this could be geared towards the rich, this student loan forgiveness, but then also people who recently paid off their loans. How do they feel about it? And I asked Ayanna Presley,
Yes, I was wondering about
and she
that.
said, well, don't we want the next generation to have it easier than us?
That's what you think. I mean, we also live in a country where most people don't have a college degree, right? So, but I think part of the reason that that's the case is because they see that burden of debt and they don't want to take it on. And when you burden young people, it presses them down for their life. They don't start families on track. They don't buy homes on track. It changes the trajectory of their life.
It's a ripple effect.
Yeah, and we all need these people to be on the way up, not pressed down.
Well said.
Well, you see the difference it makes, but I like President Walton saying it's not a handout, it's an investment.
Yes.
I think that's a really important way to look at it.